Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about why mindfulness and Buddhism have been called the middle way. And this kind of, in my perspective, started when the Buddha was, part of royalty, very rich family, who had everything he could possibly want. And he chose to leave that family and all of that extravagance because he found it was distracting him from what was really most important and connecting with the kind of truth of life and his spiritual side. And then in his explorations, he spent some time with the aesthetics and had a totally opposite experience, where at that time they believed that deprivation was the way to spirituality. So they would go long periods of times without eating and would fast and deprive themselves of all worldly kind of experiences, not just pleasures, but anything that was worldly. So, living out in the woods and just meditating and fasting. And he found that this too was not the way. It was too extreme on the other side. And this kind of harsh treatment of the body kind of kept him from being able to experience that kind of nirvana or enlightenment in the opposite extreme. So we don't want all of those sensual pleasures and all of this extravagance, but also didn't want the total deprivation. And he found his path in the middle way, in, not getting too extreme in wanting all those possessions, but still living in a way that was treating his body well, that felt balanced, that felt in line with what was healthy and conducive to his practice, while still being able to connect with the people around him and ordinary people around him. And then, of course, my favorite teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, was big on this middle path and kind of active Buddhism, in that he too didn't want to just hide away in a monastery and just get super extreme on their beliefs and block out anything that didn't align with that or distracted them from that. He was very much into bringing people into the center, bringing difference in. Anyone of any religion was welcome. He encouraged them to practice their own faiths, to continue in their own faiths, while bringing in some of the teachings of his Zen and his mindfulness. And so both of these examples are the middle way. They are avoiding extremes. And what extremes do is that they disconnect us from the whole. And they can get us really trapped and obsessing over one particular belief or one particular ideology or lifestyle choice. And we get so fixated on that one thing or that one path that it can blind us and leave us really disconnected and disjointed from the whole. We lose perspective and we lose the ability to relate to others because we're so locked in to our one extreme. And so the way that I apply this in my practice is in pretty much everything that I try to do in life is always bring it back to creating balance, watching when we're getting to extremes in our ideologies and what we think is right, in our practices, even in ourselves, like getting too strict of, I have to meditate at this time, it has to be 1 hour, and then if I don't, I get angry at myself. And just watching what those extremes do to the way we treat ourselves and the way we're able to be flexible, adaptive, and interacting with the world around us, kind of being in the flow with the world around us. So in anything, like I said, even in what we're eating, watching when we get to extremes in that, when we're so obsessive over this one diet, this one thing, and then it starts creating discord and distance between us and others because we get stuck on our opinions about it and how there's an us and them in it of I'm right in this and they're wrong, or this is the ultimate only way I can do this. And it creates this rigidity and this difficulty in life, that then we can only do certain things, or we're really restrained in who we can talk to, where we can go, where we can eat, what we can do. And it ends up depriving us of the love, the growth, the learning that's available in all the different dynamic lifestyles and choices. And so keeping that middle way to me is that balance of, yes, I have my practices, I have my beliefs, I have things that I feel like are best for me to consume or eat. I have things that feel more like my spiritual path, but I try to avoid being an extremist in them so that I stay open to being able to talk to other people, to eat different things when I'm in different company, to be able to appreciate different ways of life and thinking about things, to not berate myself if sometimes I miss one of my spiritual practices or my meditation time. And this balance keeps a really peaceful relationship within my body and my mind, and then with the world around me, because I'm not so locked into my one obsessive idea of how everything should be and how I wish everybody else could do that, or the world has to be just so that I can eat the way I want and I can do the practices I need to do at the time I need to do them, or the activities I like to do. There's only a couple I like to do and I have to do them every day and every time I have an opportunity. And that now everybody around me has to accommodate me and my rigidity and my extremes. Whereas if I allow myself to be balanced, I'm fluid, I'm flexible, you can adapt. If your favorite activity doesn't work out that day, you can adapt, try something new. Bring someone else into the conversation and what they would like to do. If your foods aren't available, you're able to adapt and still participate in the group and be grateful for and appreciative for what is there. And I know even there's one more example of this kind of flexibility is that at their centers, they are vegan. In Thich Nhat Hanh centers, but they make exceptions. That at their holiday retreat, they do bring in pastries made with real butter. And when they go out to eat as monastics, if they go into a restaurant and they notice that it's going to be a bigger pain for the group and the restaurant, they'll make exceptions so that they're not using these extremes to create division and discord and difficulty in their lives and the lives of others. So biggest priority, right, in mindfulness is that loving, peaceful, accepting awareness. So if sometimes your needs, your beliefs, the activities you prefer, the diet you prefer is getting in the way of that peace, the acceptance, that loving presence, it's time to get a little less rigid. Find balance. Remember the balance. And let that peace come back into you so that we're not grasping so hard to just one way of life in the extremes. Come out of the extremes, back into the middle way, and be mindful in that, be loving in that. Let it bring fluidity, adaptability, flexibility into your life, and notice how much peace and well-being that brings to you, and how it increases your ability to connect with, relate to, and love more people in your life. If you enjoy these talks and would like to join us for a group session or individual coaching, visit us at newleafmindfulness.com. I have a very exciting half-day meditation workshop coming up February 1st to realign with the heart. Gives us a good long chunk of time to get deep into meditations, deep into mindful conversations and reflections together, so that you can use that extensive practice to return to your heart and your true values. And you can find these teachings and many more in both of my books, Living from the Heart and Healing Mindfully. I hope to see you all very soon. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.